Hey everyone, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about Latin America, and specifically 2 residencies that you should keep an eye on this year in 2022. But before we get into the information, I just want to remind you to subscribe to our channel and like the video. Okay, so residency has become an interesting subject over the last decade, as traditional pathways to citizenship and visas in different countries have undergone some big transformations. The introduction of schemes known as citizenship by investment has meant that the days of having to live in the location you want to move to for a certain period of time is no longer the only option that you have, satisfying the increasing number of people who are looking for an instantaneous change of scenery, exacerbated also obviously by the coronavirus pandemic. So if you're not quite sure what citizenship by investment is or what it means, it's basically a special residency that could be defined as maybe a mutually beneficial program where an investor is able to gain instant residency or citizenship in return for a capital injection of a certain amount, which assists governments in different nations to develop, but also slashing naturalisation times for the actual investor themselves by years and years. So the first example today that we'll be talking about is Argentina, and specifically the investor's visa, and it's the official name of the program in Argentina that we'll be outlining. And it's basically what it means as a potential investor is that you will have to devise and draft a business plan that fits one of 3 main qualities. So that's that it will be productive, commercial, or a service, and then it will be valued at least 1.5 million Argentine pesos. So it could be said that these criteria ensure the value of a business being opened in Argentina is high, and reinforces the position of schemes like this as being mutually beneficial, because your money will also be improving the local infrastructure, and obviously you'll be receiving the residency in return. And so it gives you the peace of mind that if accepted, your investment is not only going to be valuable economically but also socially. So to give you a quick indication of a few of the requirements, it includes a clean criminal record, police certificate and affidavit, a proof of financial solvency and funds, investment and business plan with a copy of your CV, and a translation of the above documents into Spanish. And so this really isn't too much that you will need to provide to get your application process underway. And after submitting the documents and before you decide where your investment funds will be stored, the DNM, which is the National Director of Migrations, will decide if your entire plan can go ahead. So it's possible this could take a few months to be sorted, so it's a process where you have to be patient. But then again, with all of these kinds of schemes, this is a common factor, and with the possibility of citizenship after 5 years and the potential to extend the benefits to your family, this should help with this. So the second example we'll be talking about today is Paraguay, and it's clear that it's a nation full of opportunity where your goals could be personal, this is to say benefiting you and or your family, or even business related. So it's always important to understand the relocation side of things and how residency in the Latin American nation is an option that shouldn't be overlooked, especially this year, because with the effects of COVID-19 pandemic extending well beyond the social implications all the way to economic disruption, and Paraguay was no exception. But pre-pandemic, Paraguay began to witness growth and development, demonstrating the potential that lies within its borders, and when looking to the future, it's clear why residency is becoming increasingly desirable within its borders. So now we have the requirements. They're a bit longer than Argentina, but the process is slightly different, as it's not a direct business. You don't have to open a business to be able to gain the residency. It's a slightly different kind of visa. So it includes a valid passport, a birth certificate, a proof of address, a clearance certificate from local and Paraguayan police of clean criminal records, your marital status documents, proof of economic solvency, Paraguayan medical certificate, a Paraguay issued sanitary certificate and affidavit, and also a document provided by the Paraguayan Department of National Police and Identifications. So most of this is stuff you can sort out once you've arrived, as obviously a lot of it's authorized by local authorities. But anyway, let's be honest, while the requirements are important to know and to get to grips with, the advantages are the real deciding factor when looking at residency programs overseas. And there are a lot to consider in Paraguay's case. And so, for example, tax residency makes all of the income you gain from outside Paraguay untaxed, which is for some people a very key factor in deciding where to look for residency. There's also no need to live in Paraguay to keep your residency status. You just have to visit once every 3 years, which is quite interesting, because after these 3 years you can apply for citizenship, although you would have to have spent 183 days of each of those 3 years within the country. So while you don't need to live there to keep the status, if you want the citizenship, you need to spend about half of the year in the country. It's also cost effective, the education is good, and the healthcare systems in place of a very good infrastructure as well. And there's also a lot of open green space to explore and spend time in the fresh air, which after the pandemic is important for everyone. So thank you very much for listening, and please remember to like the video and subscribe, and you will also see our contact information in the description of this video. So if you want to find out some more or organise a meeting with us, please get in touch with us from one of those links. But anyway, thank you again for listening, and bye bye.